All right, guys, welcome back to A Life by You. You've got
Yay!
me and Jennifer as usual. MJ, what's up?
Welcome, welcome.
Well, we are discussing something, I don't want to say fun, but interesting, I think. I mean, we always
hmm
talk about interesting stuff,
hmm
but we wanted to talk about this whole movement of women who want to secure the bag. You know what I mean? And not necessarily for themselves, but from a man, AKA gold diggers.
I ain't saying she's a gold digger. She ain't messing with no broke. Um, from their zaddy, is that the word zaddy?
Zaddy,
No,
I think
sugar
so. I
daddy
feel
is
so
zaddy.
old right now.
I should have asked my daughter all these names before we got on the podcast. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about it. It's a
Yeah.
big conversation. Why do these women want the money?
Right. I mean, and here's the thing, like this isn't something new. Like I think even if you think about it, like back in the day when marriages were arranged, you know what I mean? Like it was
Exactly.
always about leveling up the family,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
either parties. It was
Right.
about leveling up and it was an arrangement, like a
Yes.
business arrangement. So
Yeah.
so the mindset really
That
isn't
far
old.
off.
Yeah, it's not
Not that
off.
far off.
No.
It's
No.
just, I think how women are going about getting there, what they need, what they think they need to do to get there
Right.
is a little bit different.
Yeah. Obviously, arranged marriages here in the US at least aren't like is not mainstream. So, you now have online dating, which is just crazy to me. I hear
Tinder,
horror.
swipe left, swipe right. Oh yeah,
Right.
it's a
Like
hot mess.
I was talking about it with a few others and they were like, think about it. Like people are making decisions about their future partner while sitting on the toilet, like because people sit on the toilet with their phones swiping. It's just like,
Yes, no, yes, yes. Oh God, that's yeah. I never got into the swipe left stage. I'm
no,
glad my dating was over before I
same.
had to go down that path.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we met, I guess you could say we met our partners old school in a sense.
Yes, we
We
did.
didn't meet them on social media or a dating app. We met them what we would perceive maybe as normal,
Right. The good old fashioned way.
right? But then in this day and age, with the pandemic and you know lockdown, not lockdown, whatever it may be, it's got to be hard meeting someone. But with that
Yeah.
said, there are still women in particular who have some certain standards who are like, I want a certain man making a certain amount of money. So this is available to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They make songs about this. You've heard Cardi B.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Wait, what was that? That's my type. That's my
Yeah. Rich. Well, yeah, y'all know the song. Like,
type. Which, listen, you guys, you got to have your standards. You
mhm,
have to have your expectations. I grew up in a
mhm,
household, my parents were married for over 40 years. My father was the breadwinner. My mother did work, but if she were to get laid off or didn't want to work, nothing skipped a beat in our household.
mhm,
So there was security there,
mhm,
and I think at the end of the day, that's what most women want. At our core, is we want to know that we are secure and we're safe, and our man is the provider.
mhm.
Um, Unfortunately, a lot of men are actually males don't get that. They don't
Yeah.
know how to be providers anymore. Okay.
No.
And I don't know if that's because there was a disconnect and a lot of families were broken and the father wasn't in the household. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want
Mm.
to go down that rabbit hole because a lot of times I feel like you can still change it no matter what your past circumstances were. I hate that
Mm.
victim mentality. Oh, I didn't have my
Oh yeah.
dad. I didn't have my mom. Okay, but you know what you want.
Mhm,
You could turn on the
mhm,
TV and see what you want. I was never rich, but I knew I wanted to be rich.
mhm, mhm.
So I don't like that kind of mentality where they get stuck into that. But I do understand that it is a challenge. If you were not raised in a household and you did not see a loving relationship, you may not know how to come into a relationship and be loving. I get
For
it.
sure.
But you can always pick up a book. You can always watch a
Mhm.
YouTube video. You can always find a
Mhm.
mentor. You can figure it out.
Mhm.
And that's what I want people to start doing.
Right.
And being a single mom for as long as I was and having girlfriends who were raised by single mothers, they had a very independent mindset. And my mindset
Mm.
was, I want a partner, I want a man. And they're like, well, why? You
Right.
don't need a man. Yeah, you do. A man needs a
Mhm.
woman and a woman needs a man, or two women, whatever. You
You need
need
a
a
partner.
partner.
Yeah, you need a
You know what
partner.
I mean? You need a partner in this life to get
Mhm.
to be able to go where you want to go. And that's just the
Mhm.
truth because you can't do it on your own.
No.
So when I set out to figure out what I wanted after going through all the shenanigans I went through with different people, non-committal, using me for certain things, I had to sit down and really get refocused. First of all,
Mm.
Jennifer, you had a father who provided. He worked two jobs and got a master's degree. What are we doing?
Mm.
When a man comes and wants to take me out in my dating time, the conversations were, what are your goals? What are you trying to do
Mm.
in life? Well, why are you asking me all that? It's not all about the money. You already have the wrong mindset.
Right. I didn't even ask you nothing about money. I asked you about your goals.
Yeah. But, what do you do for a living? What is your 5-year plan? What is your
Right.
10-year plan? What is your vision as a man
Mhm.
who's going to lead
Mhm.
me if I'm with you?
Mhm.
And a lot of them would get offensive and they would think I was talking just about the money. I have my own
Right.
house. I purchased my own home. I don't
Mhm.
need to move into your home. I have my own.
Mhm.
So, what is it that you can bring to the table to enhance my life as well as
Mhm.
myself? What is it that I could bring to the table to enhance your life? Because there's a
Right.
lot of men out there who are independent and they don't need their women to cook and do their laundry anymore. Let's be real, ladies.
No.
They don't need us for that,
No, you can outsource everything.
right?
And I
So
love it.
you need to figure out what it is that you're bringing to that other person's table. When I met my
Mhm.
husband, who is extremely successful, we were not intimate. We did not have sex for the first year of our relationship. He took that
Wow.
totally off the table for me. He said, you're a beautiful
Mm.
woman, and I'm sure you're used to using that to get what you want, but you're not going to do that here. So what else you
Oh,
got?
damn.
Yeah,
Wow. I did not know that.
yes. And he said, and I was
Wow.
like, okay. Because as women, we do use that to secure a man sometimes.
Right?
That
Yes.
feminine, that feminine energy,
Mhm.
all that femininity stuff that they tell you to
Oh,
do.
for sure.
He's like, no, no, what else you got?
Ooh. Mr. Sawyer.
Yeah. So, but that's how we built our relationship.
No, and that creates a whole different bond, a whole different level of a whole different connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By taking that off of the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know
Yeah.
that. That is really eye-opening, and I think
Right.
that's, a testimony to your connection,
Right.
to the relationship that you guys have,
Because a lot of people
you
get
know?
lost in it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's
Well
okay.
well,
There's a
it is,
there's a time and a place where
but,
you're supposed to have fun and do that. But I was
like
looking for marriage.
right, exactly, because it's all sunshine and rainbows in the beginning.
Oh,
It
yes.
always
It
is.
should be.
You know what
If
I
it's
mean?
not, you're in the wrong relationship, but it should be.
Right, and then you add sex to it, it's just fireworks, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then you start getting to know the real person, like, you know what I mean? Like, "Oh, their shit stinks." Like, literally and figuratively, like,
Yeah.
this is they're infallible, they're not perfect, and, there's some dark storms sometimes, ain't no more sunshine and rainbows, it's cloudy, might be hailing, and it's really about how do you guys connect on a deeper level
Yes.
to get through those moments,
Hmm.
and really, what are each of you bringing to the table to get through those
Yeah.
moments together as a unit. um, I think so many people get so caught up on the beginning, you know what I
Oh my
mean?
God.
Like,
Yeah.
he needs to wine and dine me and take me out and show me this and blah blah blah. I ain't got time for that. And I don't fault anyone who has these non-negotiables when it comes to finding a partner.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm also not a big fan of a DIY project. You know
No,
what I
ma'am.
mean?
No, ma'am.
I've been there before, and
Definitely.
that didn't obviously work out for me. I used to be attracted to a lot of, they weren't men, they were males, as you said, um, who just did not have it together. And I saw the potential, but there's a difference between potential and reality. You, you know what I mean?
Amen.
And I'm thankful a nice chunk of these dudes. So thank you guys. Um, y'all the best things I never had.
Right.
Um, they would actually tell me, I, 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 I am not a good person for you, and for better lack of worse.
Yes.
They would say it a lot smoother
Yes.
than that. But in so many ways, they would be like, "You deserve more. I'm not that person." And here I am. No, we can build together. Blah blah blah
That
blah
could be
blah.
what
It's
you
okay.
need.
What do you mean? Like we could be da da da. And they're like, no, no, no. You
Yeah.
no. And after going through a few who didn't say
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
um, I realized, and I've shared this on the podcast, I was just like, okay, no, 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 no. I don't want the sunshine and rainbows. You know what I mean? I want something real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want something that's going to be lasting. I've had a lot of fun.
Yes.
I don't want fun all the time.
No.
Like, fun is important. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
totally.
But fun is fleeting, just like happy. you know?
Happiness is fleeting, fun is fleeting. No, yeah, I
This
agree.
is-
You really
yeah.
want to
So
focus.
I told that to Zell, and here we
Yeah.
are, and Zell was the first man. Well, I think he was the first man I dated. If I reflect back, and I think a lot of it has to do similar to you, um, you and Mr. Sawyer. We didn't need each other. We still don't need each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I bought my own home.
Yeah.
I was traveling. I was doing my own thing. I did not need
Yeah.
him. But together we have flourished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure you could say the same thing with your relationship.
Yes.
We have flourished. And I was literally talking about this with my stepmom the other day, and reflecting just on our relationships and her and my
Uh-huh.
father. And she's very similar. She was like, I didn't need your dad, but we have elevated together. And I think that's really what you want at the end of the day with a
Yeah.
partner. You know what I mean? Male, female, whatever you're into, I don't care.
Yeah.
You really want someone you can flourish with. And that doesn't necessarily mean they got to have a certain dollar sign in their bank
Mm-mm.
account. That doesn't necessarily mean they got a certain job. I think it really has to go with what you're saying, that mindset. Like, what's your vision? What you trying to do with your
Yes.
life? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And are you willing to execute on that vision? What are you
Right.
willing to sacrifice to do those
Yeah.
things? Because to me, that's far more attractive, sexy, whatever you want to
Yes.
say, as opposed to somebody who got some money in their account. Because there are men who came after me with some money in their account, and I'm like,
Yeah. It's like, it's not going to work. There's no chemistry here.
ah,
I don't care how much money you have. No, thank you.
it ain't happening.
No, thank you. No, I've been there too. And I told my husband that. I was like, you're not the first successful person. And let me change that. My husband knows how
Right,
to make money. When I started
right,
dating him, he lived in a 2-bedroom condo, had one car, and was rebuilding his life after a
right,
divorce. Okay.
right.
So I didn't know his capabilities. We had conversations. I knew he was a
Mm-hmm,
businessman. That's all I knew. And then we started to get to know each other, and I understand the extent of his business knowledge and how
mm-hmm,
he learned how to make money the way he does. So let me start
mm-hmm.
there. Now, a lot of women I hear, and even the younger ones, because they ask me, well, how do I find a man successful like your husband?
Mm-hmm.
It's fair. I get it. We don't want a guy who is broke. Okay.
No, no.
So, well, some women do, I guess, but most women don't. But you cannot base your entire relationship off if your man has money or not, because
No.
it all gets old. I know there's certain
Mhm.
songs, and somebody had sent me something once. Or I read something where, oh, he really loves me because he bought me an expensive handbag. So
Mm.
it felt like it was love. But this is what I will say. If you have a man who's working a 9 to 5 job and he goes out and buys you a Chanel
Mhm.
bag, it probably is going to mean more than if a man who's a multi-millionaire buying you a Chanel bag.
Mm.
It's nothing. It's like
Mhm.
McDonald's to them. It's pennies. They
Mhm.
can throw that at anybody. It's the man who's
Right.
getting up every day working really, really hard. And my husband works
Mhm.
really hard. As successful as he works hard, y'all. It doesn't just fall in his lap.
Mhm.
He
No.
works hard to be able to provide the things for his family and his grandchildren that he does.
Mhm.
So for me, that's very attractive. Um, but I will say this and I'll be honest, I was never going to date another man who did not already have something going for themselves, who was not already
Right.
successful. If you were just
Right.
starting off, if you had been working at a job for 20 years, I probably wasn't going to date you. And that's just me being
Mm.
honest because I knew what I
Mhm.
wanted to attain and I knew where I wanted to go. And a person who's working a
Mhm.
job for 20 years and just waiting for retirement doesn't have the same uh, vision as myself.
Mhm.
And that's just the
Mhm.
honest truth.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I mean, and on the flip side, there are some individuals who would find it attractive, that a man's
Yeah,
worked X job for however
totally.
long. They might see that as a sense of
Totally.
security. You know what I
Totally.
mean? I think it all just goes to kind of going back to that whole bag,
Hmm.
a man buying me a bag. That 9 to 5er buying that bag, that's a whole different level of sacrifice and intent
Yeah.
to buy that bag versus again, the man who's just got it
Yeah.
like that, has the disposable income to do that. So I think it all again cycles back to that intention, that mindset in terms of what they're bringing to the table as opposed to the zeros in their bank
Yeah.
account. You know what
Totally.
I mean? Because some people are happy with less. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then there's some people who got a whole bunch and they're assholes. They're
Yes.
evil. So
That
it
part.
just yeah. So I think it all kind of goes down to don't get caught up on what's the word that I'm looking for? Don't get caught up on what you think love should look like, more or
Love
less.
isn't money.
But no, love isn't money and love isn't things. You know what I mean? Love is not a Chanel bag. You know what I mean? Love isn't traveling to me, love is not traveling the world. You know what I mean? Love is really like, can y'all
Weather the storm.
deal with each
Can you
what
weather
was
the
that?
storm? When it
Yeah, can
really
you
hits
weather
the
the storm?
fan, do you have that person who's going to be there, who's rubbing your back, who's holding your hand,
Right.
who's telling you everything
Mhm.
is going to be okay? That is
Mhm.
what love is. You know what I mean? Not,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're whining today, or you're having another
Right.
issue. I don't want to hear it. Your issues aren't real.
Mhm.
Really getting in tune with your soulmate, your partner. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
love. And I think the society just in general has lost focus of that. You know?
Yeah. I think they glamorize, they see these celebrities, for instance, so and so bought this chick a Ferrari, or you know what I mean? They start equating these transactions to
Yeah.
love, and not recognizing there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And you can see a lot of look at Kim K and Kanye. All right, both rich
Rich as
as
hell, still
hell.
ain't happy.
But they were not
No,
aligned. They fell out of alignment at one point. I think they were
in the beginning.
aligned, and some could say, Kanye brought Kim up. Kim had her bag before she met Kanye. I think Kanye helped
Yes.
enhance Kim's bag and the whole Kardashian bag. Let's
Yeah.
just be, Kardashian Jenner bag. So that I think they elevated each other. But I think at some point they became out of alignment. It just goes to show you all the money in the world just is not going to equate to
Or
love
happiness.
or
Yeah.
happiness, So, yeah, you can't, in my opinion, you can't look at it as I'm going to secure the bag, Um, especially if you just don't have any vision for
That's the
yourself.
problem. I
Like
think
that
a lot
part.
of women don't have vision for themselves. So they're looking for that
Mhm.
person with the vision that they can kind of ride on their coattails. And that's the
Mm.
problem.
Mm.
So if you're not okay with
Mhm.
yourself, if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what it is, you're lost. You want to find that light
Mhm.
and kind of like,
Yep.
help me. you know, that's usually what people
They
do.
want a
They want a
savior.
lifeline.
They
They want a
want
savior.
Yeah, they want someone to come in and swoop in and just fix it. And that's problematic because it's just like you shouldn't be dependent on someone to fix things for you. It's one thing to have someone that's your partner who's
Yeah.
supportive, but you have to be accountable to yourself. And I would almost say be self-sufficient
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
certain degree. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't ask for help.
Totally.
Don't get
Totally.
it twisted. I get help
Right.
all the time. But it's just like, what is your identity without all of
Yes.
this? You know
Right.
what I mean? Who are you at the end of the day? And can you stand on that? Can you be alone with yourself? Do you
Hello.
even like yourself when you're by
Hello.
yourself?
You said a mouthful there. We talked about that last time. A lot
Girl,
of people don't, they
we
fill their
did.
life with noise. They enjoy the hamster
Mm,
wheel because when they sit down by
mm,
themselves, they don't like what they hear. So if
nope.
you truly haven't
Distractions.
done the work on yourself, don't even try to go secure the bag. Yeah, you're a beautiful girl. You got the enhancement. You're an IG
Mm,
model. Whatever the case may be, you know you can secure any of these dudes. It's not going to work, honey.
mm-hmm.
You're going to be miserable. You're going to hit
No.
rock bottom at some point. I encourage you to do the work
Mm-hmm.
on yourself first. To really
Mm-hmm.
understand, why is it that you want somebody to secure the bag? Why do you feel like you
Mm-hmm.
need to get all that plastic surgery? Why? Start asking yourself
Mm-hmm.
all these questions. What is it doing for your
Right.
soul? Literally. And if
Mm-hmm.
you can sit there and answer
Yep.
those like legitly, like for real, answer them
Mm-hmm.
honestly, and you have a solid answer,
Yeah.
then I say move forward with your life. But if you teeter and you're thinking, I don't know, why do I want to do that? Am I following social media?
Mm-hmm.
Do Then you need to take a break and stop worrying about
Yep.
who's that guy you were talking about? Samuel or
Kevin
Kevin Samuel.
Samuels. I was gonna say we got to talk
I
about
don't
that.
know him, y'all. I've
We
never
got to
heard
talk
any of
about
his
Mr.
stuff. I hear a
Samuels.
lot of people talk about him. I've had younger girls say, "What do you think about what he said about this?" And I answer in that moment, but I can't remember all this stuff that they asked me. So,
So his general, I've listened to some of his
okay,
YouTubes. He's a very opinionated man, but the general just the oh,
I can hear
you
you.
still hear me? I have a thing saying that I
So,
had a lost connection, but let's see if it'll make sure it's okay. Edit this out, Emily. Okay, we're good. So the general gist that I hear him talk about is that you know women want a kept man. Not all women, but there's a certain a fair level of women who want
yes.
these kept men, and they don't deserve them. And it's not necessarily what we've talked about. You haven't done the
Mhm.
work to be the mindset
Uh
to be
huh.
the kept woman. There, he's like, you haven't taken care of yourself.
Oh.
like you too old. You got kids. You like it. Almost is like it's very. It's
So the
just
only kind
mean.
of kept,
I
so the
just
only
like it's
kind of
so
kept
mean.
woman or kept man that should get the only women that should attract kept men, I'm hearing from what you just said, is pretty much a 23-year-old. No kids, banging
Right, and
body.
so right, he's like, when you go into the gym, you're overweight. Because his thing, he's even said, because I've talked to Zell's listened to
Uh-oh.
some of his
Okay.
stuff. I'm like, don't you get any ideas? But but a lot of some of his friends listen to him like
Oh,
religiously.
because
I'm
this is
like,
where they're
y'all
getting their
think
information from.
on that level, but
Okay. Oh
girl, it's
God.
crazy. So he has said, what are not necessarily what are you bringing to the table, and it's not a matter of like how you and I talked about, our
Yeah.
individuality, our identity, our vision and things like that. It's just like, are you prepared to be this submissive woman in a sense? Like a real kept man wants their woman to do nothing, and I'm just like,
Oh, okay. So like old school, old
and
school.
I'm
So the
like
women would cook and
old
clean
school,
that.
like pretty much, yeah.
Well,
I,
all I can
I
say to
mean, and
that
there's
is if
something.
he is legit a real man, then he is paying for
Hmm.
everything. And some women are okay with that.
Hmm.
They just want to have
Hmm.
kids. They want to be the homemaker, which, honey, let me tell you, that's not easy.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's not easy. Sometimes it's easier to go get a regular job. But well, that's just that old school
Right.
mentality, which if you can handle it as the
But
man, do it.
my problem with Kevin is that he is basically saying, like, if you got too much baggage, you likely are not going to get a kept man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, one, why do you want a kept man like that? I mean, you need to ask yourself that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's important you ask what type of life, what type of, I think you still need to have some sort of sense of identity and vision. And that might be your identity and vision. I don't know.
It's
It's
just
hard for me
very,
to
it sounds
understand that
very
because that's just
traditional,
not
like very
me.
traditional roles.
But think about it. So many individuals in
Mm-hmm.
this world, I mean, divorce is like a 50% marriage rate. Most marriages end in, not most marriages, but 50% of
Yes.
marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the likelihood as you get older, because that's what he's talking about, is a lot of these older individuals are still, I know some women in their 50s, approaching 60, and they're single and they're saying, I want a man who's just gonna take care of me, let me do
Mm-hmm.
whatever I want, and that's it. And
You
he's
can't do
saying,
that.
you probably ain't gonna get one. You ain't gonna get one. Let's just be real. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but I also am just like, it's just so negative. You know what I
Listen,
mean? What do you think? I need to hear. Be real. Tell me what you think.
now I want to go and listen to the guy because I really want to understand. If I'm thinking traditional wise, what it sounds like he's
Hmm.
saying, a kept man, traditional wise, he's looking for a woman who's going to take care of him, the household, cook,
Right.
clean, sex when he wants, all of that, make him look good on the
Right.
arm, take
Yep.
care of the
Arm
kids.
candy.
Don't really want to touch the kid, bounce him on my knee every once in a while, but you got that. In the late 40s and 50s, yeah, you're probably not going to get that because a man doesn't need that. That's the
No.
more in their 20s, 30s, they're looking to build a family, have a woman at home taking care of their household. A woman in her 40s and 50s isn't looking to take care of a household because she's already done that.
But he's saying, but there are some women, I've heard some women who kind of do want
Oh,
that.
then I absolutely say that they
Y-
can totally have that if that's what they want. And their mindset is right and they stay focused, they will attract the person who is looking for that.
And he's saying they don't
Now,
deserve
is he
that.
saying they don't deserve that or is he saying you just won't find it? There's a difference. That's not, I will never say somebody doesn't deserve something.
I shouldn't say deserve. Okay, so maybe I need to be careful. He's saying it's not
It's
realistic
going
for
to be a
them to be able
challenge.
to attract
I will
that.
agree with him on that. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
It really is
Hmm.
because the older we get, the more we're set in our mindset, we're set in our ways, and it's a lot harder to
Hmm.
attract certain things that you've never really experienced before. So, but it can
Mm.
be done. There's nothing that is impossible. And a lot of people, and they
Mhm,
always, well,
mhm,
you're lucky. You got lucky. There's not men like Mark out there. There are men like Mark out there. There really truly are. A lot of you
mhm,
women aren't patient enough to wait
mhm,
for it. And you're not okay enough to be by
mm,
yourself to be like, I'd rather be by
mm,
myself than to settle. And I was not
right.
settling. I wasn't coming off my list. Well, I kind
Mm.
of did. My husband doesn't drink. And that was one thing I had on there. I want my husband to drink. And my husband's like, I don't drink. I'm like, well, damn. But I could have been like, that could have been a deal breaker for me.
Mhm,
But it wasn't.
right.
So don't waver in what you want, ladies, but understand why it is that you want what you want. That's when you start questioning
Mhm,
yourself. I knew that I wanted a man who had security because I was raised in a household where my father worked two jobs and got a master's degree so I could have security. Period.
Right. Yeah.
And my mom, she was always like,
Yeah.
well, you're going to build with your husband. You're going to build, do this. Okay. Yeah, I got you. And I tried to do that with my daughter's father. We
Mm-hmm.
were building together. We lived in LA. He was in music. I was in fashion. Okay. We did that. Didn't work. Dated other
Mm.
people. Didn't work. So this time around, I was like, I'm not building with nobody. They need to come to the table with already
Mm.
what they're going to have. Of course, I changed that a little bit along the way because my husband and I have built a lot more together. But
For
initially, you were
sure.
not going to come to my door and be broke. It wasn't going to happen. You want to call me a gold digger? You want to call it. Call me that. I don't care. But I already had my own house. I already had my
Well,
own career. I already had my own car. I had all that stuff. So I was not settling for anything less.
I think it's a
Yeah.
level of stability. You know what I mean? So it's like I think you made it very clear you wanted someone with vision and
Yes.
ambition and you wanted more, wanted more from life, but at the same time at this point where you were at, here you are, a mother and you've established yourself. It's just like let's
Yeah.
meet each other as equals and then level up from there.
Truth
And I
be
don't think
told,
there's
my
anything
husband's
wrong
older. He
with
didn't
that.
have to do. My husband could have retired a long
No,
time
yeah,
ago and been living a comfortable, simple
right.
life. But that's not him. That's not who he is at the core.
No, and that's not what he wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
and sometimes I think it's too damn ambitious to be honest. Sometimes I'm like, how much is enough?
Right? Like, get your sit your
And then I
ass
start questioning.
down
Then I
for a
start questioning,
minute.
like, well, how much is enough for you to retire? And he's like, never.
Mm. So be careful what
Ladies,
you ask for.
be careful what you ask for. Because if you want to be with a successful
Yeah.
man, a truly successful man who is going to respect you and love you and care for you the way that I know all of you beautiful women
Mhm.
want to be taken care of, because it's not just the money.
For sure.
It's a whole lot underneath that.
No.
Just understand what
Mhm.
you're asking for because those kind of men are busy and you're not always going to be a priority.
Mm.
And you're going to have to figure out, instead
No.
of twiddling your thumbs in the house, what you're doing and you're getting upset because you're alone and they're busy and they're doing, you're going to have to figure out what it is you really want in life. So,
Mhm. I think that's so important. It all, it comes back to the self and the identity and, in order to maintain that flow and that alignment in your relationship,
you got to
you
be
got to be
okay.
okay at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And it's important they're okay too, but you can't fix them. You know what I mean? You can't make them. So you have to be able to come together and ride those waves together, but can't do that if you're not clear with yourself. And that's whether you're a woman who is ambitious or a woman who wants to be kept,
No,
to no
not at
offense.
all.
Um, what I think it's important you ask yourself, like you said, kind of like how you would ask your partner. You need to ask yourself those questions. What is your vision? What is your plan? What is your
I
5 year
think I
plan?
really wanted,
You know,
I
what,
wished I could have been kept when Kennedy was younger and not have to work and could have been really
mm,
present for my daughter instead of working two jobs and hustling and missing important
right,
moments and
right.
grinding. And I wish I could have been a kept woman and wasn't.
Mm, mm.
So I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything wrong with you wanting to be a kept woman, um,
No,
especially if you're trying to raise kids, man, because I think kids need that.
that's a lot. Yeah. I know for instance, I'm in a very
Mhm.
ideal situation for myself. I get to still work a lot on my own ambition. We can afford to have, our daughter in
Yeah.
school at a very good school. Um but and I still have my sense of identity. I could have stayed at home, but I personally
Yeah.
have no desire to do that. Like I do not I stay at home all the
You
time.
work from home.
I work from home. But that's the
Yeah.
life I want to live. You know what I mean? And I'm able to create that. But having my partner who's aligned with that vision has helped
Yes.
substantially. You know what I mean? And even when when I shift, because you will shift, your goals change as you start knocking out
Yeah.
them, it becomes you start
Yep.
leveling up. You know what I mean? And you want to be able to be with someone, if you're that type of person, be with someone who's going to
Yes.
ride that with you. Um, and there's some men, there's some males, taking it back to this,
They
who
can't.
can't hang with
They
that.
can't.
You know, they start second guessing, that imposter syndrome sets in. It
Yes.
becomes a lot, I think, for them. Like, they're in over their heads. um and you just have to ask yourself, as a woman, are you okay with a man who's just kind of going to sit back and let you run the show? Because there's some women that I know
I don't
that
know a
works for.
lot. I don't
You
know
know
a
what I
lot.
mean? I know a few, a couple. um I personally like tag teaming things,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I feel like I do with Zell. Like, that's your department, this is my department. Stop trying to cross over.
Girl.
You
Tell me about it.
know? or
Yeah.
we need to collaborate on this. We need to work on this together. But I don't know. To me, it's beyond the bag, and then we end up, because we're so aligned in terms of our motivations and our ambitions, the abundance just
Yeah.
starts pouring in. You know what I mean? Because the
Yes.
byproduct of
Alignment,
that.
mindset. That is what it's all about. Life
Hmm.
by you. So I don't care if you're 20, I don't care if you're 30, 40,
Hmm.
50, 60, 70, whatever, whoever is listening to our podcast, you have to get in alignment. You have to get your mindset right. Do
Yes.
the work on yourself. My 20-year-olds, I said it on my first YouTube video. Don't get married in your 20s. I know that's probably going to go against everything everybody says. Don't do it. Travel, work, enjoy yourself, figure out who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you happy.
Hmm.
Go out by yourself, travel by. My daughter wants to take a trip by herself. As much as it makes me cringe, I get it, because traveling and
She
doing stuff by
should.
yourself really teaches you who you are.
Hmm.
Use your 20s for doing that.
Hmm.
Stop worrying about these men, and men,
Hmm.
stop worrying about these women in your 20s, because a lot of
No.
relationships in your 20s don't last. I'm not saying all don't last. I understand high school sweethearts, they're together, they've been together for 50 years. I get it. But we've changed. The dynamics changed. Family has changed. That's not the same anymore. You can't usually meet somebody in your 20s and still be
Mm-mm.
married to them 20 years later. It's unfortunate. I don't know where the disconnect is, but it's somewhere. But if you use that time in your 20s to get to know yourself, I think you will be so much better off of finding a partner in your 30s who's going to match with you and align with
Hmm.
you, and you can produce a beautiful, wonderful life. I just think in your 20s, you're too young, you don't get it.
Hmm. I agree. I feel like there's so much growth that's needed in your 20s. And, if your goal is to secure the bag, you got to have a lot of growth and a lot of experience and a lot of connections and a lot of, there's so much that's necessary, that has to occur,
That's a
unless you're
different
born
story.
into
But
wealth.
even people born into wealth
Nothing
marry
wrong with
other
that.
wealthy people.
Different story.
They don't usually go down.
Right? To keep, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That goes, yeah, exactly. So, if you're trying to secure the bag, I would submit to you to not necessarily look at securing it with your department. I mean, with your partner, but reflecting back on yourself and your identity, and asking yourself, why you want these things, and really, do you need this from a partner?
Mm-mm.
Um, because then, a like
Mm-hmm.
attracts like, you know like energies attract,
Mm-hmm.
frequencies and all of that. You'll start putting that out there if that's what you want. And
No,
at
you're
least from
absolutely
my
right.
experience,
You're absolutely right.
you know
But saying what you think
so
you want is the bag, but on the subconscious saying, I don't deserve it, I really don't know what to do with that, is really what you're going to attract.
mm,
Because a lot of women say, well, I've been saying that. I say
mhm,
my affirmations. I do this. I have my vision board. Okay, but it's what's running in the back, in the subconscious. What did it look like when you were a
yep,
child? Were your parents, could they pay the bills easily?
mm,
You know, did you guys have a rich
mm,
family member that would come around?
mm.
How would your family kind of talk about those people? All of that is running in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
even though you're not aware of it. Mm-hmm.
That's
So
subconscious,
with
man.
that,
That's
and let me
subconscious.
say
It's always
this,
at
because this is what I
play.
say to everybody. I live a very great life, you guys. I don't show a lot of it on social media, but I live the life that most people on social media that you follow, that you're like, I want to live that life. I live that life. And it ain't all it's cracked up to be.
Hmm.
They're not as happy as they look like they are. Don't fall victim to it, is my point. I had a
Nope.
discussion the other day with my brother.
Hmm.
Well, what do you have to worry about? You good. I don't care how good looking your partner is. I don't care how great of a body your partner has. I don't care how much money your partner has. We are human beings. Everyone will get on everyone's nerves at some point.
Hmm.
Someone will not meet your
Hmm.
expectation at some point. And your partner is a human being and they will
Hmm.
not always meet your expectations. I need you people to understand and hear that.
Yep.
Money does not fix every problem.
Hmm.
Beauty does not fix every. None of those things you see on social media as important is going to fix your life. So find your
Nope.
happiness, your joy.
Amen. Yeah.
Don't let social media tell you
Hmm.
what makes you happy.
You're so right. No, and I think especially with the young individuals, that because I'm sure
Yes.
you get a lot of questions from younger women. How do I get a man like you? I've been asked, is there some more Zells
Right.
in the army I can marry? And I think you just have to realize, or one thing that's has stood with me being on social media and being married, all this other stuff. Comparison is the thief of joy, and you got to find your own joy,
Yes.
and it looks different for everybody. And joy to me is everlasting, then happiness, and you can be going through some crazy shit and still find joy. You know what I mean? And so you got to find your own joy, and your joy is going to look different from the next
Yeah.
person, and you just can't compare that. What works for you may not likely can't work for someone else. Everyone has their limits. Everyone, and that goes the same with relationships, I
Absolutely.
feel like. So stop comparing to your life to these damn squares or quick 15
Let
second
them
TikTok.
let it be an
None of that. It's a
inspiration,
snapshot.
but don't get caught up in it.
Right.
Don't just
No.
don't do it. It's so sad.
No.
You know what I mean?
It is. And it's
Oh,
so
it's
easy
so
too because
easy.
it's so
And you think you
accessible.
know
It's
the
so readily
people. You really
available.
do. You know, like,
You know?
oh, I see them on their story. Oh, I know them.
No, you have no
People don't
idea.
really know. They don't.
No, you have no clue. No clue. Yeah. And that's the beauty of social media. I think you can definitely use it as inspiration. So I think it's a great place to go there and look for things to motivate you, but it should
I
not
wish the people,
that's not always
and you know, and
reality.
I feel like I try to be as transparent on my platform as possible. I try to tell the truth, and there's certain things that I
Mhm.
haven't put on there, which I will
Mhm.
eventually. That's just my, but that's just my own timing. But
Or
I
you don't
do feel
have to.
like for
Or
people
you
to
don't have
really understand who I
yeah.
am, my journey, where I've been, and how I've gotten here, you do have to have a level of transparency. I don't like the pages that everything is beautiful, everything is fake. That to me, it's
Right.
like it's not real.
Mhm. No, everything is
Yeah.
with a bow. They seal it with a bow or a heart. You know what I mean? It's always perfect. And here's the thing, some individuals I think are trying to just always include positivity. You know what I mean? They're trying to instill that to help others, and it
Mm,
becomes a creative outlet for
okay, I
them.
look at it
So I
like that.
just try to keep
Maybe.
that in mind as well. But and I think you and I have a different perspective because we are creating that content. Like this stuff is work. This podcast is work. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? This is work. Taking a cute photo, looking cute,
it
getting
is.
that
It
face
is. It
right
is.
is
That's true.
work. So I think you and I have a completely different mindset about it because we are creators. I would just submit to those who are consuming this content because I'm on that side too. I do consume a lot, and I've fallen into that. Like oh, I need to be like this person. I
Uh,
need to be like this
yeah,
creator. You know,
yeah.
I need to be putting out
Hmm.
content like this. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, hold up, hold up. This is life by MJ. Like, that's not my reality. That's not my circumstance. You know, I have other things
Yeah.
available to me and perhaps not. So let's just do it. Let's even create my way. And I think the same thing goes to with living your life. You got to live your way. It's not to say, you know, you settle. It's just also being real, like, okay, this is where I'm starting at. This is where I want to go. The steps for me to get there, you know, to get to this point where this person's at
Your journey.
is going
Yeah.
to be my
Yeah.
path. Yeah, my journey.
Exactly. Well said.
So, um, and I think people, I think, sensationalize these relationships. You see these rappers and celebrities, and they're seeing the snapshots, the perfect reel, you know, or the moments. And it's, you have no, again, Kim and Kanye.
Yeah.
I
She's
thought they were
iconic.
match made in
I'm
heaven,
not
and
happy.
they're still going through it.
Man, she ain't even happy.
I know, I
Yeah.
know, right?
That's what I'm
Billions of
saying.
dollars.
That's what people don't get. You can have billions of dollars and still be miserable.
Look, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, all of them divorced too. Look, richest people in the
Yeah,
world.
exactly. So that's saying a lot, you guys. Don't worry
Yeah.
about the bag so much. If you really want to make a lot of money, because great,
Nah.
money brings freedom.
We're
Don't
about.
get me wrong. Money is freedom and allows experiences. Because
Mm-hmm,
you will get tired of shopping at one point, you will get tired of certain things,
mm-hmm.
but it does always allow for experiences and freedom. And if really having a lot of money is your goal,
Yep.
then do it. But understand why you're doing it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Don't worry
Worry
about the bag. Worry about
about
yourself.
yourself. The meditation going. Come on.
Right. All right, guys. I think we've definitely talked about this topic a lot. I
Yes.
hope some of this was
Hopefully.
helpful to you all.
Yes.
Yeah,
Take care. Have a
hopefully. And
great
we will
day.
catch y'all
Design your
next
life
time.
by you.